Hello, my name's Julia Fountain and I coordinate the Dementia Consultation Group at Sussex Partnership Foundation Trust. We're going to talk today about the importance of including lived experience in dementia research. What do we mean by lived experience and why is it important to include it in research? At Sussex Partnership, we have a busy dementia consultation group and lived experience advisory panels that we call LEAPs for specific studies and clinics. In the groups, we all have personal experience of living with dementia or caring for somebody who is living with dementia. Researchers consult with us when designing and when delivering research. Today, we'd like to break down the acronym LEAP. So first, we have Tony and Caroline Scott-Gall, who'll be talking about living with dementia for the lived part of our presentation.
Our mantra for today is please see the person, not the disease. As researchers, your interest in my husband is that he has Alzheimer's disease. My interest in him is that he is the man I married nearly 50 years ago, and he is still that man. He just happens to have developed Alzheimer's disease. Tony spent 25 years as a barrister and 20 years as a judge. He was known to be tough, but always fair. He would send people to prison, but weep when he came home at the harm done to children. At home, he was and is a devoted father and grandfather. He has always had numerous interests, particularly around sport, and is president of a cricket club he started in 1983. He has lots of funny stories and a great sense of the ridiculous. Tony brings his wealth of learning and knowledge to our social life, family life, and life with dementia. The other day, the Dementia Consultation Group was wrestling with how to ensure that people living with dementia can give consent to taking part in research when, after a few minutes, Tony came out with the legal interpretation of consent and the job was done. Please always remember to take time to get to know the people assisting you with your research. The other parts of their lives may be of interest and may inform your research.
The day I received my diagnosis of Alzheimer's, I did not turn into someone different. I was the same person I had been the day before and all the days before that. However, it is a shocking diagnosis, not because of the here and now, but because of the inevitable future it portends. That is where the fear lies. After a period of denial, during which I struggled with the fact that there are very few answers to the questions that I had, I realized that life had not changed so very much, and I reached a state of acceptance, a process which family and friends are all important. They too are impacted by the diagnosis, and they too will have to live with the consequences. Our 5 grandchildren just shrug their shoulders and say, he's still grandpa. Happily, we've had very few ill-informed, hurtful reactions, and I do my best to live with the diagnosis with humour and resilience. Being a member of the Dementia Consultation Group, meeting researchers, taking part in your projects has been a lifeline for us. We know that the outcomes of your researches may not benefit us directly, but knowing that we may be making a difference to future outcomes and even helping to find some of the answers I needed makes us feel that we are challenging and confronting this disease. We hope and believe that we are helping you, but you are also helping us.
So what do we mean by the word experience? As I said at the beginning, in our dementia consultation group and our lived experience advisory panels, we all have our own experience around dementia. In my case, I've been a family carer for my mum who has Alzheimer's and is now living in a care home. Every person with dementia will have a unique experience, and it's important to recognise that. Our LEAP groups have shown us that we've all had such different experiences in terms of health issues caused by dementia itself, length of time somebody's been living with dementia, access to and treatment by services, family situations, housing situations, financial situations, and so on. It's often our emotional responses to things that can be a surprise to researchers as well as to ourselves. We often don't realise our own strength of feeling until we apply a proposed wording or action to our own personal situations, and we can see what might work well and what has the potential to cause distress, offence, or just put somebody off from agreeing to take part in a study, such as the impact of words on a participant information sheet, the benign questions that might leave us in tears after you've left, the unrealistic expectation on participants, the difficulty of fitting our experiences into yes/no boxes. Using a leap in your research will mean that you benefit from the experiences that we've gone through. As I've said, our experiences will not be the same as that of potential participants for a research study, but there will be enough similarity and enough common experiences for you to be guided by our practical and our emotional responses to your proposals. And now we have Cliff talking about advice from a leap in the advisory section.
We can advise researchers from our place of lived experience. Our advice is simply that, it's advisory. As researchers, you know your research best. You thought of it in the first place based on your professional and personal experiences, and you know what you want to achieve from that research. You don't have to make the changes according to what we advise. We know that there are often good reasons for not making any changes we may suggest. The biggest thing for us is that you listen to and consider our comments and are open to making any changes. Overall, it can save a lot of time, trouble, and participant burden if you do. Your research will be better as fewer participants will be put off by the information sheet. We have been able to say what might have stopped us from participating. Perhaps those seemingly benign questions can be softened. Perhaps there can be fewer tick boxes or an explanation of why they're included. We might even give you new ideas which you can include in that research.
Thanks, Claire. And now we have Karin talking about the benefits of using a panel of people with lived experience.
As we've said, everybody diagnosed with dementia and every caregiver will have a different experience. As an example, my mum lived with vascular dementia and experienced vivid visual and auditory hallucinations. But as a carer, I didn't know anyone else with vascular dementia who also had this symptom. Each person with dementia and each carer will have their own individual experiences when dealing with the dementia and its symptoms. One size does not fit all. One of the great things about our leaps is hearing those different experiences and different reactions to research ideas. Post or email, subtitles or no subtitles, face-to-face or online, what wording to use. We might well not have a consensus on issues such as this, but even if our different reactions don't give you one clear course of action, your research will benefit from hearing the different views. Perhaps by going with the majority or reinforcing for you why you think option A is the right one. A group of voices, the wider the panel in number and breadth of experience, the more confident you can be in the voice, which is why we want to increase the number of people in our group. Always remember, when you have met one person with dementia, you have met one person with dementia.
Thank you, Karin. And so finally, what can you do as a researcher to increase lived experience and to really value from including lived experience in your work? So embrace the use of lived experience in your work. We suggest that you reach out to people with lived experience. Don't assume they won't want to get involved. Properly fund lived experience when planning your research. And then tell people living with dementia about ways to get involved. Tell them about our group. We need your help to reach more people. And so that's it from us. So thank you for listening and goodbye. If any of you have any questions, I've put my email address on the bottom of the slide so that you can make contact. Thank you.